Hi, can you guys hear me okay?
Yes, go ahead.
Hi, so I was on the Prop 28 meeting last week, and for the first time, the e-comments aren't available. And I'm really frustrated at this because I had shared with you guys when I spoke on the meeting last week that my son posted a comment, but many others posted in support of music and arts on the presentation last week. So if there's a way to unhide all the comments from last week, please, if there's a way people took time to, out their time to post. And also in that regard, in regards to comments, I want to suggest that e-comments be read out loud into record, but also for children and adults who are not speaking, their voices need to be heard. I also wanted to thank Director Lotta for speaking out last week about Prop 28 funding in support of fully including our students, as it shouldn't take like an IEP for our students instead to receive music and arts. I'm worried about more funding being cut with the uncertainty of the budget, and I'm not sure why the budget meeting didn't happen last week. I too was trying to join last week to raise the question about oversight from the committee with allocations of funds. I mean, like I said, even if it's a block grant, I would think that there should be some kind of oversight, because I hope there's a plan to replace the million that was taken intended for music and arts to implement programs. The funding is there. So I asked the board to prioritize funding, get the staff in to support our students. They desperately need the consistency that Prop 28 funding provides for. The other part of my resolution also, I've been asking for a decade now, which doesn't cost any money, is for the district to reinforce the discipline policy by encouraging positive language. And just so you know, special needs is also an offensive word to use, describing our students with differences. Witnessing the constant harm caused, starting with verbal abuse, I'm asking the board to reinforce the safest environment that our children need to best thrive. And my son and countless students are still suffering from the board's actions years ago, so please think about them and all students and repair the harm that's been caused. Thank you.
Thank you. Come on up.
Madam President, I just want to point out as a matter of public record, the public can criticize a public official. Whether there is truth to what is being said is a different issue. But at a public meeting, the public is allowed to criticize an elected official. And the rules are that we do not engage in back and forth dialogue based on that criticism.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Ready? Okay. A little less controversial here. I'm Jack Nelson, class of 1972, Skyline High School. I have for the last 20 years given a scholarship, now scholarships there, engineered a program as a teacher at San Leandro High to get food to Castlemont students who were homeless. And thankfully, thanks to Mike Hutchinson and John Sasaki, money that I donated that was not being used is now going to Castlemont, Skyline, Tech, and McClymonds in the second week of August. I'm really happy about that. But I gotta bring up one thing. We had a good meeting in April with the Facilities Committee with Ms. Batchelor, and I have sent a couple emails, and I'd just like to know where we stand with that, when, if we are gonna have a Beam Fardella renaming, considering George Bliss has a record maybe not too good on racial matters, and he's had the name for 60-something years. I think it's still time for a change, but I won't fight it if you're not going to make the change. The sign is going to be paid by me. There's no budget problem. So I'd like to have an answer pretty soon. And, you know, yay, nay, or we're going to table it. And that's it. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Are there any other public comments?
Yes, Madam President, there are two online speakers, Cynthia Adams and Marina Menuz. I believe I'm saying that name correctly. Cynthia Adams is first.
Okay, and 2 minutes each.
I just lost Cynthia Adams. Well, I will go with Marina Minoz at this point.
Hola, ¿me escuchan?
Sí, por favor, anda.
Sí. Ok, me va a interpretar, ¿va?
Sí, después de tus comentarios, señora.
Ok. Mi nombre es Marina Muñoz. Represento al Distrito 7 del LK. Hoy vengo de la escuela de la MPA Madison y estoy aquí, ¿verdad? Apoyando las recomendaciones del DEL y de las metas para mejorar la interpretación que todos los alumnos reciban la enseñanza adecuada, ¿verdad? Diaria del inglés y que haya una evidencia de lo que están aprendiendo y que todas las escuelas tengan comités para aprendices de inglés con voz real. También quiero agradecer, ¿verdad? Agradecer y darle las gracias a la directora Bachelor por preocuparse por las familias emigrantes y por todas estas redadas que estamos viviendo, ¿verdad? Es muy triste sentirnos como padre, como madre, ¿verdad? De nuestros estudiantes del distrito, lo que estamos sufriendo y lo que estamos padeciendo. Hoy no pude estar en la junta con ustedes, ¿verdad? Por miedo. Y aquí estoy luchando para que haga algo el distrito para la educación de nuestros niños. Gracias.
Mr. Copenhagen, if you can come off the interpretation line and make the interpretation from the previous speaker, please.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
Great. Okay, hello, my name is Marina Munoz. I'm representing District 7 of the LCAP, also Madison, MPA, and I want to support the goals put forth by the DELS subcommittee, and I want to also support English language learners. I would like for there to be evidence presented of the learning of English language learners learning in school, and for there to be true representation of this subgroup of students. I also would like to thank Dr. Batchelor for her comments supporting us in this very difficult moment where we are suffering from ice raids, and it's a very difficult moment, and it's very sad personally for me, and I'm not able to be at the meeting today because I'm afraid of what could happen to me. And that's it. Thank you for your support.
Thank you.
Madam President, I see Cynthia Adams now again. I will allow them to speak on Zoom.
Go ahead, please.
Good evening, everyone. I'm President Adams from the Oakland branch in WCP. And I was sitting here tonight listening to what's going on. I came on and I know everyone have our press release that came out today. And also about the 9 o'clock meeting to introduce Dr. Sattler, which I've been knowing for many years. And I really think that is just too late for any parent to know about the interim superintendent that's coming in. But listen to what's going on here today. This gotta stop, you guys. The way you argue in public, the way you make yourselves look bad, you are educators. There's no way Oscar Wright, Mr. Grant, several people that have went on before us to see this going on, all this argument, this gotta stop. You got to come together. You got to stop meeting behind doors. You got to come together and let the community know what you are doing. You got to come together and let the parents know what you're doing. This is not right. This is not right. The president, you got to sit down and talk to the community. You got to do that. Whether you want to do it or not, you got to talk to groups. You have to. This got to stop. You're getting a new superintendent, which Denise been around for many years, but you're trying to already rule her what to do. You already trying to make back deals, trying to tell her what to do. This got to stop. And the lady named Valerie that's sitting there now, turning her head, you do that all the time to people. You got to stop doing this. This make you look bad. And that's all I got to say. Stop it. It needs to stop. Thank you.
K. Okay, thanks. No other public comment?
All names have been called.
Thank you. Mr. Rakestraw, can we have a roll call vote, please?
Yes. On the roll call to adopt the pupil discipline consent agenda, student board members are absent and would be recused from this item if they were present. Director Lotta?
Yes.
Director Hutchinson?
Abstain.
Director Berry?
Yes.
Director Thompson?
Yes.
Director Williams?
Yes, sir.
Vice President Batchelor?
Abstain.
And President Brohart?
Yes,
Motion's adopted.
thank you. The next item is item L, which is consent items, minus L12, L41, and L42, which are being moved to June 25th. Is there a motion to adopt?
I
And
move
there's
the
also
adoption
item L101.
Sorry, and L, so let me read those again.
101 has been withdrawn.
Okay, so minus L12, L41, and L42, and L101. Is there a motion to adopt the consent?
Yes, I move the adoption of L, the consent report, with the adopted or the items that were mentioned to be adopted.
Second.
Moved.
Oh, board, okay. Director Hutchinson.
Thank you. And I'm sorry for your loss, Ms. Olabala. Unfortunately, it's not that I'm looking backwards to talk about what's happened. It's currently happening. And this is the problem that we're facing. Nothing has happened yet, but if we don't stand up and do something as a community, it will be too late. And sometimes there's decisions that there's no moving forward from. Sometimes there's violations that are so serious, I'm actually surprised that there's anyone left who would expect me to work with some of my colleagues here after what's gone on. And so when it comes to consent report, I started saying in April that I was no longer going to vote for the consent report because I don't have confidence in board leadership in creating the agenda. This one in particular, I got no ahead notice of all of the items on this agenda. I first received it when it was posted publicly on Sunday. And there's no way to physically read through everything that was in this consent report in 3 days. The other thing is I've learned that our superintendent hasn't even been attending the agenda setting meeting. So I don't have any faith in our board leadership, and I don't even know who from staff is putting the items on the consent report. As we heard with the conversation around the budget, I don't feel like there's a lot of understanding from board leadership about how these things work. And here we go, every meeting, pushing 100 items in front of folks and just saying, vote for it, vote for it, vote for it. And then I hear directors after the fact talk about how past boards did things and how we need to do it better, even though they've been involved with all of this just as long as I have. And so, you know, I was talking to my mother today because I'm really, really frustrated and really scared about our district. But at this point, I've done everything I can do. But one thing for me, one thing I learned growing up in Oakland, one thing my OUSD education taught me is if I see wrong, I'm never going to be silent. I'm never going to forget. And I'm always going to push better for all of us in the community that I come from. And when outsiders come in and try to mess up what we've built, when there's a racial context injected on top of it, thankfully I'm old enough where I don't got to deal with that kind of garbage anymore. So people up here will try to silence me. Y'all don't hear all the back and forth that's all up in my ear this whole time. You know, it's happened. We have directors who have assaulted people on the board with us still. Nobody seems concerned about it. But I won't be voting for this consent report or any going forward. And all I can do is help show my community and my constituents what's really going on. Thank you.
Again, we're on item L. Are there any other board comments? All right, Mr. Rakestraw, can we have a roll call vote?
Yes, on the roll call to adopt the general consent report minus the items stated. Director Latta.
Yes.
Director Williams.
Yes, sir.
Director Hutchinson.
Abstain.
Director Barry.
Yes.
Director Thompson.
Yes.
Vice President Batchelor.
Yes.
President Brohard.
Yes.
The general consent report's adopted minus the items named.
Okay, the next item on the agenda is item M, the adoption of general consent report, general obligations bonds, measure B, J, and Y. Is there a motion to adopt?
Yes, I move the adoption of item M.
Second.
And are there public
I
comments?
want to again point out to the community that currently we do not have a head of facilities working in the district anymore. So not only am I concerned about the regular consent report and the lack of oversight, I don't know how this is still being pushed forward when we don't even have a head of facilities. Who vetted these? Who's deciding what gets put on the agenda? And who's really making these decisions now at this point? But unfortunately, our former head of facilities is now one of the growing lists of strong, homegrown sisters who have now been forced out of the district.
Director Hutchinson, can you refrain from referring to personnel in your comments? Thank you.
Mr. Rakestraw, can we have a roll call vote on the
On the roll call to adopt the general consent report on general obligation bonds, measures B, J, and Y. Director Thompson.
Yes.
Director Barry.
Yes.
Director Hutchinson.
Abstain.
Director Williams.
Yes, sir.
Director Latta.
Yes.
Vice President Batchelor.
Yes.
And President Brohard.
Yes.
Motion is adopted.
Thank you. We'll now move to bargaining unit comments. Are there any bargaining units represented tonight who would like to speak?
Checking on Zoom to see if there's any hands raised from collective bargaining unit members.
Item R1, environmental science.
Second.
Thank you. Public comments?
My heart in Southern California and seeing our students near and far being detained at immigration court cases. I know of a 3-year-old that was detained in San Francisco yesterday, and I was thankful enough to be able to attend the Concord immigration court, and with 200 community members, we were able to shut down that facility and shut down any other ICE deportations that were to occur that day. Issues that are happening around tenant protections as landlords are taking advantage of this moment and pushing people out of their homes, saying that they will be calling ICE agents. Know that that is illegal and unlawful. Reach out to any community organization that does any sort of housing support to get more information on your rights. But again, these are people are taking opportunities right now to divide our community, and we as electeds, we as community members, we as individuals in this city need to stand up. I know Oakland knows how to fight. I know Oakland knows how to stand up, and we need to be doing that each and every day until this administration changes what they're doing. And so again, I think we're called upon to do great things right now, and that is one of the many great things that we need to be doing as a city to make sure that our people are safe here and across the Bay.
Dr. Barry?
Yeah, I didn't have any prepared remarks, but I do want to use my time to just react. And it is an emotional reaction to what I've experienced at today's board meeting, and I'm really sad because I think the level of toxicity is beyond unhealthy. We have families being ripped apart. And if we're serious about getting rid of the hate that is capable of doing that, we have to be serious about the kind of hate that we tolerate in ourselves. And it goes for everybody. And it's my call to action today is for the self-reflection and for we talk a lot about as a board about the need for restorative justice or something to help us come together. I don't know who has the expertise to do that, but I wish the student directors were still here. They have other responsibilities, but when they are here and they show up, they call on us to get it together. And we have an amazing opportunity with the leadership coming in, the interim superintendent that we have, the next superintendent that we will have, to help Oakland live out what we all experienced in Oakland, who we really are. And I apologize for being emotional and also for riffing because I just lost my train of thought, but I really want us to take it seriously, and I think a lot of that has to begin with how seriously we take the self-reflection. That's my time.
Thank you, President Brohart. Yeah, we mentioned last board meeting the graduations. Very excited for our young folks who have all graduated out of McClymonds Street Academy, Ralph Bunch. Went to the adult ed graduation as well. Thank you, Director Kim. You know, that was a fabulous program. I have hope, and I really believe that our district is, has potential and is a beacon of light for other places of diversity. I think that there's very much possibility for all of us to come together to really to support our young folks and providing them the opportunities. The negativity that has been ever present is not today. It's been going on for the last 5 years. And so it's just time, enough should be enough. And I join Director Berry's call and everyone on this board, Director Batchelor, Director Brohart's call to really change the tone and to move forward. I mean, we're elected to be a representation of our school district. And if we're not able to really move the work in a collective manner, how can we talk to our young folks in the classroom or talk to our administrators or our educators to do that same work? And so I'm really glad that we finally got to a place to say enough is enough, that we want to move forward in a positive direction, and I support everybody. Thank you, Cynthia and Adams, for calling it out of what you see. If you see that, hundreds of other people see that, and it's time to move forward. And I'm glad that we have Dr. Sattler to come in to really have conversations with, partner with, and try to move in a direction to a restorative justice direction, as well as a respectability direction as well. So just want to tell all the families out there, keep the faith, we will move forward, and very committed to lifting up our young folks, our students' academic outcomes, their social outcomes, and create a place for them to have a sense of belonging and to continue to thrive either in a college setting or a career pathway setting. It is really important that we put our young folks first and put our egos aside. So I am in support and look forward to doing the work that is necessary to move us into a new direction. Thank you.
Director Thompson? First wrong button. We have a new agenda item introduced by Director Barry, and I'm going to let you talk for a minute, just explain what it is, and we'll, it'll be, yeah, go ahead.
Sure. First, some context for the attachment that hopefully some folks have been able to read. So I've been on the board for 6 months, and we have definitely had our hands full. All of the issues have been real, have been urgent. They've required immediate action. And I think at the same time, it has meant that other issues have remained dangerously underattended. And I think premier or top of the list for me has been student outcomes. And I do feel lucky that I have been on the teaching and learning committee, because I think that that has created at least some opportunity for us to dedicate time to having real deep engagement with issues that are really proximate to students and to outcomes. But even then, there's very little time for deep engagement with those issues, and there isn't a consistent anchor sort of guiding our conversations and the ideas, the insights that come out of them. And so what I'm proposing is a framework that hopefully creates some structure around how the board agendizes and prioritizes those conversations, and then allows that to drive and intersect with the way that committees take up the same thing, so that it becomes a part of our DNA and how we operate. There are already existing data monitoring systems. We do disaggregate data in, I think, a really powerful way. We pay attention to equity, but then what? And how do we make sure that regardless of the emergency, the urgent item of the day, the mistakes that we'll inevitably make along the way, that we continue to hold core and front and center students and outcomes. And much like Lisa Grant Dawson brought up earlier today when she was talking about chronic absenteeism, it's not just about money. It is also about student outcomes, right? When we enable a system that is okay with chronic absenteeism year after year, it really does hurt students. It makes it harder for students to recover. And so how can we integrate conversations about student outcomes in everything that we talk about, whether it's budget and finance, whether it's facilities? And hopefully this creates an opportunity to engage in that discussion. What I've started to create is obviously not finished. I've received a ton of feedback already, so I'm excited to work with the board, with community, with staff to make this something we really believe in, and we really do believe that it can be functional in its implementation.
Thank you. And I think we'll refer this to Teaching and Learning, which is coming up. What's the date of the next Teaching and Learning Committee meeting? Okay, so we'll, that'll be on the agenda for June 17th, and then we'll bring it back for a vote on the 25th. Okay, thanks. And thank you for doing the work on that. I appreciate it. And with that, we are adjourned.
I know you can do it. Look, come here. Come here, let's do it. Come on, your turn. I know you can do it.